Welcome to Born on the Bayou Sports, a Houston sports show made for Houstonians by Houstonians. Join Tim Costello and Scott Barzilla every week as they break down the latest in Houston Astros, Rockets, and Texans news. Tim's a former minor league broadcaster, and Scott has written 2 books on the Baseball Hall of Fame. Yeah, if Javier could get it figured out, it would make things a lot easier because he was that guy everybody was counting on this year to be a Cy Young candidate, take that big step forward and help anchor this rotation with Fromber.
Since he's come to Houston, you can look at the development of guys like Carlos Correa defensively, Jeremy Pena defensively. I mean, you can Alex Bregman's, certainly I think a better than average third baseman.
And now you're putting teams in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9. Now here comes Will Anderson. Pin back your ears, let's go. So if you're Bayou born and bred, or just like spending time in the H, sit down, relax, and stay Houston strong. Welcome all my friends to the podcast that once again I think is on a different day and time than we initially intended, but hey, we're here and I'm a little winded, Scott. I put myself on the court tonight with my daughter's 12-year-old practice. I was doing a little coaching tonight and scrimmage time. I may have joined a weaker team that needed a little help.
Well, I've done that before, Tim, and sometimes it's not pretty.
They were the ones begging for air and for water before me, but I wasn't exactly hustling down the court. I was hitting like fucking CJ Stroud type passes down the court, like let whoever was leaking out deep, I hit them with it, and it was up to them to make that layup, which they sometimes did and sometimes didn't. But hey, second practice, we're working on it. But yeah, we're here. We're ready to talk football, talk basketball, talk media. A lot of news in that world. But first, Scott, do you have a starting question for us tonight?
I think we've tackled this one before, but, obviously we get new listeners all the time. So would you agree that you and I are professional media?
No.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Are you paid to call high school games?
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's true. I forgot. I thought you meant in reference to this podcast.
No.
You not get paid. I'd like to reference some things on that.
No. We don't get paid to do this podcast. However, if you would like us to sponsor,
we do take a small salary stipend to take care of kangaroos, but that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, if you'd like us to sponsor your product, we'd be happy to throw in a 60-second spot, for your product. But I get paid a small stipend to cover the Texans. You get paid a small stipend to call high school games. So, ipso facto, as they would say, in it wasn't it Zoolander.
I think so. Yeah.
We are no, that was ipso facto was dodgeball. Ipso facto, we are paid professional media.
Okay, I would agree. Okay, so I agree with your original statement.
So obviously we have some bit of about this. So let me walk through this story here, Tim. First, I usually post on Fridays at the crawfish boxes. So I went on today because today's Thursday, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go on the dashboard while I got a little bit of extra time at work. I'm just gonna throw up a quick post about third baseman because that's the next stop in my, looking at, each position by position on the Astros. And lo and behold, the dashboard's not there. I don't have access to the dashboard. I get on the old Discord chat and come to find out that Vox Media, SB Nation, has fired everybody at Crawfish. Now, I'm gonna say a couple of things, caveats. The only thing they shared their emails that they got from them, and it mentioned a lack of traffic. I have emails out to the bosses saying, "Hey, I was an unpaid contributor can I still contribute? And I haven't gotten any answers back. So I don't know if you were a frequent visitor, Crawfish, but I will say this, that I think the commentary over there is mostly very intelligent commentary. Even excluding my post, I'm just including everybody else. And so, I found, that news to be extremely disappointing. And then we also have a dust up at a Texans press conference that we need to talk about as well.
Yeah, I mean, the media is in an interesting place in today's society, right? Where these local fan sites, these things that started as local blogs, um, essentially are now just corporate owned clickbait machines, right? Like they're there to drive ad revenue. And sadly, Scott, in this situation, while the conversation still happens, right, amongst fan. I don't know how much time you spend on Reddit, but there's some very, very highly intelligent baseball conversation in the Astros subreddit. There's also some fucking jackasses, but there's that's where the conversation is, right? And so that's where the ads are being sold. And that's unfortunately the sad state of the internet. And I could go on for hours on how Google has broken what was like essentially this beautiful gift, which is the internet, and now we just chase clicks and impressions and everything else to be able to please our Google overlords and just have a little bit more internet. Just looking for a little internet, sir. Heading out west, trying to find a little internet, ye. But no, I mean, but in reality, Scott, it's sad because the media, like yourself, right? You're just a guy. Like, let's be honest, you're just a guy who you fucking love baseball. Outside of everything else, like you're a good writer, you like stats, and you just enjoy doing it. You're as you mentioned, you're unpaid. You're just a guy who likes to write about it. You're still going to do it on your Substack, but like you enjoyed maybe the added traffic of being on a Crawfish Boxes, so that way you can then get traffic to your Substack. And the trade was, hey, I'll write for free, knowing that hey, you're also going to say, hey, you can find me here. And it sucks for you that you can't take advantage of that medium anymore, right? Because that's unfair to the fans that high level discussion goes away, and it's unfair to you as well that you don't get a chance to cross post or tap into a new audience. But I think additionally, it's an opportunity for you as well to maybe get into something like Reddit, start posting some of your Substack posts into um, some of the subreddits and maybe get a following in there and drive traffic back. We can see what we can do, Scott. But the media is changing, and it's so interesting. I work. This is the second, third. This is now the third straight media corporation I've worked at. Right, like I've worked for a magazine. I've worked for a national publications ad side, and I now work internally for a pretty large, the number one real estate news corporation in America. And it's all changing, man. The way things are being done is changing. How we're doing the reporting is changing, and it's sometimes it's unfortunate because it's at the loss of people like you and I who just like to do things for fun, and it's at the behest of people who are spending money as advertisers and need proof that people are clicking and being where we're saying that they're going to be, because we have already sold the fact that they're going to be there, right? So realistically, SB Nation's probably in trouble with some local Houston advertisers who are told, hey, I'm going to be getting 100,000 impressions on my ad. And here we are, it's time to renew. And you only got 85,000. They're just like, well, what's the fucking point?
Yeah. And
Long rant. I'm sorry. It's a long rant.
No, you're good. And I think what I want to point out is that through back channels, because I obviously write for Battle Red Blog, and so we were immediately concerned, hey, are we on the chopping block? Apparently, no, we're not. And their bosses there assured us that there will be a Crawfish Boxes, and it will not be written by AI. So it will be written by human beings. So somebody will be taking that over. And I'd say this has to come a long way. I had a college friend whose job it was to write fake letters to the editor for college, different college things. Like, I don't know if you remember do you remember the Texas Tech horse getting spooked that one year?
No.
And no, so the Texas Tech horse, that was their mascot, got spooked and it ran headfirst into a wall and died. And so, my college friend, he wrote a letter to the editor talking about how Texas Tech mascot, that Texas Tech was so bad their mascot committed suicide. And I was like, that's pretty low. And he, of course, he didn't sign his own.
That would, yeah.
He didn't even sign his own name. He
That's
had
a
to
rough
make it.
one.
He had to make up a name, and so I was kind of like, my name that I would come up with is Cornelius Bumfuzzle would be my go-to. But no, and since we're a Houston podcast, I want to dwell on personal matters. So this week there was a bit of a dust-up at a Houston Texans press conference. D'Amico Ryans is starting to get some heat. And in particular, he is upset about two different lines of questioning. Number one, he thought it was ridiculous that anybody would suggest that Nick Caley should have been fired, particularly after the Seattle game. Absolutely ridiculous, Tom. And we were one of those that suggested that he should be fired. So apparently we are also ridiculous. But, the one that got, there was a heated conversation with Landry Locker and one other media member. I can't remember his name. So just to set this up, D'Amico Ryans said their game plan against Seattle was to press their wide receivers, particularly Jackson Smith and Jigba. And there was no pressing going on in that game. So the question was asked, what happened? Did your players not follow the game plan? Did you change the game plan? And so he did not answer that question and found it very offensive. And so there was a back and forth going on. But with Nick Caley, I want to point something out here. Coming into this week's action, the Texans have surrendered 20 points fewer than any other NFL team. Let me repeat that. 20 fewer points than any other NFL team, and you're sitting there at 3-4. What am I supposed to take from that situation? What question am I supposed to ask? What's the most logical question, Tim?
Why the fuck have we had 4 losses?
Yeah,
And don't tell me, and I don't want to hear the fucking answer. We're a score away, a play away. Hey, 1-score game. All those are 1-score games. Like, I fucking hate that answer so goddamn much. When you look at a box, like when you just look at a final score, it doesn't tell the true fact of the way that we've lost these games with its like ineptitude.
And it's all almost exclusively 90% of it is on the offensive end. Yes, you mean the Tampa Bay game, you allowed the game-winning drive when you were up. Okay, that's a fact. There's also a fact that, in key moments, we've had dumb, 15-yard personal foul penalties on defense. I'm looking at you, Aziz Shire, doing a pile driver NFL blitz style tackle on the sideline. I'm looking at you, Tim Settle. Let me jump on the pile at the end. Those are the kind of stupid penalties. But 90% of the problems have been on the offensive end. And so, and we go through and we talk about scumbags and we talk about, people we want to punch in the face or in the kisser. We talk about people who are, we call, who is it? Not jackasses, but
Horse's ass.
Horse's ass. And it's usually all around media coverage in some shape, form, or fashion. I mean, it's around people in public life acting stupid, but it's also, why are we're professional media members, Tim, remember, Why are we collectively, as professional media members, taking these answers in the political realm, in the sports realm? Why are we taking the answers of, well, we're just one score away? And we can't swallow that. As media members, we have to push back on that. That's our job. And there's not enough people out there willing to do that job anymore. Maybe it's because of the pressures of clickbaits, of ad buys. Maybe it's, the pressure of wanting access. Who knows? But I mean, we need, this. We are. I mean, I don't even know if I want to say quasi professionals because our opinions. We can't live off of the money that we're making. You calling games or me writing for Battle Red Blog, but it's something we're paid to do.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time where you could live off of the things that we're doing, right? Like if you were a guy who was a high school football broadcaster in a small town, like that was a radio gig that you were paid a salary to do. But that's a whole other thing, right? Like the media has changed. You mentioned, AI. I have no issue with AI, and I'm not trying to say AI should get rid of human jobs, but like if you want a quick 3 paragraph write up on a baseball game, I'm fine with AI writing. Like if you have a good AI trained thing to write like a 3 paragraph baseball summary every night, I'm fine with that. I don't need AI doing the kind of stuff that you do, right? Like there's no replacing some of the discussions or, who was it when we made the trade? I'm sorry, when we made the decision to bring Cam Smith up too early and, wrote an article about that. That's not going to come from, unless you just sit there and have someone who prompts, hey, ChatGPT, please write an article on why calling up Cam Smith too early might be a thing. But I mean, no one's gonna read that. You're gonna lose. You're gonna not get page views and what they're looking for that way anyway. And we're basically getting into what I do for my job now. Um, so I mean, we're literally right in my wheelhouse here as I and talk about that stuff every day. But it's it's the way we consume the internet has completely changed, Scott, and it's because of advertising. Like we need to be findable. We need to be accessible. When we were able to ban cookies, they had to pivot and do things different ways, and the ads go where the eyes go, and the internet is used differently by different age groups. You mentioned the high level baseball discussion that happens on the blog. That just doesn't happen. And so when we have good pushback, when we have good reporting, look who it's coming from. Take a look at these guys because you mentioned the name Landry Locker. He's not with 610 anymore. He is on his own. He's got a Substack. We've had Cody Stoops on the show, and I think I heard D'Amico get on Cody at some points for some of his questions too. Those guys are paid to get us as fans the information that you and I are both sitting here wanting to know. Those guys are out there doing the groundwork. And you can't always sit there and have the 610 line of questioning because the 610 option is, hey, coach, really seemed like Njigba had a big day out there. What happened? Hey, yeah, I don't know. The game plan was to press him. Yeah, I know he's a tough guy to guard. Okay, well,
Let's move
moving
on.
on to the run game. Didn't really seem like a yeah. Hey, you
Well,
don't get that. Well, hey, if you
you know more about AI than I
go
do.
ahead,
So I was going to sit there and
I
say,
do.
can you train AI to sit there and say, I want to have an article that sounds like Nerdy Stat Guy? I want to have an article that sounds like Snarky Jackass. I mean, can you can you pull that off?
Yeah, I have an AI. I have an AI that is scientifical for case studies. Where I have an AI that I use for fun on the side that I take what I want to say and then make it Trumpified. So that way it sounds like something that Trump all caps tweeted out in the middle of the night that's like drunk and crazy. And I use that for my golf chat when I want to fuck around. I have an AI that I've trained to just sound like super casual for like advertising stuff or for like media guide um like descriptions and things like that. Like there's two different like main AI competitors in the main scape as far as like ChatGPT or Claude. Claude's one that's more used for like writing. Um our AI that like writes stories, like we'll give it data on like certain things and it'll pop out like a 3 or 4 paragraph story on like what this data is about. And it's a Claude one.
Yeah, well, it was pretty cool. We used it. We probably should move on after this, but we used it in school. We read that Ayn Rand piece of shit novella, Anthem. And so we gave the kids basically a chat GPT where they could ask the characters questions. And so, that gave them like insight into, and of course, the chat GPT is going to quote the book, which is basically what we want. We want them to generate, quotes that they could use in analysis and things like that.
Yeah, no, it's a really fun tool. When I was looking for a job, I used it to practice interviewing. I use AI every single day. Like there are ways that you can use it that make you more um just just make you better, more capable of doing things that maybe you personally don't know how to do. But let's throw it into AI and let's see what we can like prompt back and forth till I get it to what I want it to look like. And now I learned how to use a brand new program that I'd never seen before, and now I'm putting out professional media guides that go out to thousands of people. So it's a cool way to learn, right? Like it's a tool, just like anything else. It's a tool. Um, Unfortunately, corporate America views it as a different type of tool than the rest of us. But hey, that's a discussion for another time. Let's talk about this Texans win, Scott, about the San Francisco 49ers. Okay. Because I want to preface this as my wife and I were supposed to go to this game, and it was very disappointing. Our tickets actually somehow a crazy circumstance, like this lady put our tickets on her desk to put aside to give to my mom, and her secretary accidentally grabbed the tickets and donated them to a fundraiser, which they were then given away as a raffle prize. So then, long story short, my mom has to call us on Monday and say, "Hey, you're not going to the game." So I was not there for that game. That's disappointing. Then you don't get to watch the full game because you live in fucking Dallas, and that's bullshit. I went into this saying the Texans are going to win this game because it's the most Texans win ever to get your fucking doors blown off against Seattle the way that you did. Even though the score was not indicative of the game, you got dominated. And then I just knew that like Nick Cayley would come out and fucking look at me now, bitches. Look at me now. How you like the Cayley nuts now, motherfuckers? Drop a big spot on you. Like I knew that would happen. I knew for a fact like we'd look like a competent football team and everything would just like everyone feel like, okay, we're great again. Let's get back in the playoff hunt. Because that's just what this team has done. They keep you around. They keep you around in a game where they keep it an 8-point fucking game, even though they never really were competitive in that football game. And in a season, they keep you around. They keep you thinking that there might be a fucking chance, even though you and I would both agree this isn't a playoff team the way it's playing right now.
Well, a couple of key stats here, Tim. And the San Francisco game definitely plays into this one. The Texans are 3-1 against teams that have a total of 10 sacks or fewer. The Texans are 0-3 against teams that have 20 or more sacks. San Francisco 49ers, they lost Bosa, so their pass rush is nothing. And, we lucked out. Baltimore looks like they're back, but, they weren't back when we played them. And then Tennessee as well. Tennessee. I watched most of the game on my phone on the golf course. Nice day out there, Tim. We won $53, finishing first place in the scramble. Had to split $150, 3 ways. So that's how the $53 comes into play there. And, it was a nice offensive performance, like the game in Baltimore was a nice offensive performance. game against the Titans are a nice offensive performance. But you know how many sacks the Denver Broncos have?
I know they're like number one in the league. Is it
That
80?
it is 36. They're on
Okay,
pace.
80 is crazy. I'm sorry.
They're on pace for probably close to 80. So ask me how I feel about this one coming up. It ain't too good. And Nick Caley's going to have to prove that he can dial it up against a good defense. That's just the way that it is. And if you look at the schedule, I mean, this team is going to play the Cardinals. This team's going to play the Raiders. This team's going to play Jacksonville and Tennessee one more time. I foresee this team easily getting to 7 or 8 wins. I just don't see them getting much beyond that.
I mean, you and I went through this last week, and I had it around 10, and it included them beating San Francisco, right? Like, it was like, hey, you have to win one of these 2 games. It was this one and last week. I thought they'd beat San Francisco. I think they could beat Denver simply because how good our defense is. Like, let's just straight up, do you think, take the coaching, take the line, take everything else out of it, do you think CJ Stroud is a better quarterback than Bo Nix?
Statistically or in actuality?
I'm just saying in actuality, because Bo Nix is willing to scramble more, but I do think he's a guy who gets blitzed a lot. He gets hit a lot. And
I mean, he's putting up some good numbers, Tim. Now, I think Stroud is better than what his numbers show. So, I mean, I think it's almost a wash.
I think our defense is going to keep us in this football game. Like,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
putting up good numbers, yes, but they're not a huge high scoring offense. Like, I don't think he's efficient. Yes, he limits the turnovers, but I mean, he's not Drew Brees.
Can you get out? So my question is that, number one, will Stroud have enough time to throw in order to get to 20 points? I mean, to me, that's the bar, because the Texans are averaging giving up less than 20 points a game. And to me, the Seattle one is the only outlier. And the Seattle one, I mean, they had the ball 3 times on our side of the field. So to me, that game doesn't even really count in terms of the points given up. So to me, the question is, can this offense generate 20 points against the Denver Broncos defense?
I think so.
I mean, I think it's possible. I just don't know that it's going to happen. I mean, to me, Nick Caley's got to prove that they can do this against a good defense. That's the bottom line.
I think what's also happening right now too, Scott, is DeMeco's going to have to play these rookies. And I think, our best offensive games this season have been the ones where Marks gets, a fair amount of touches. You saw what Noel can do. He's a phenomenal deep threat across the middle on a deep cross or, taking a shot down the field. We haven't had that without Tank Dell. So to have somebody who can stretch the field like that has been needed. These young guys are going to need to step up and even be just given the opportunity. It's that. And then, when I went back, I looked at some of the all 22 footage. There are some intriguing things. The blocking, or they're bringing a tight end in motion back across the formation on a play action to give CJ time to take deep shots. Right, leaving the line one-on-one. The tight end's literally moving across the formation to take out the blitzing or whoever the free rusher is that's coming in that situation. So I like some of the schemes that they had drawn up. I think the line's playing better, and I think the defense will probably force at least one turnover that gives you good field position. They, who knows, maybe you can pick 6, right? Does the offense have to generate all 20 points, or can we just score 20 points as a team?
Yeah. Well, let me give you some good news and bad news and see if this changes your outlook. Which one do you want first?
Good news.
Good news. Nico Collins has been practicing this week, so it looks like he will be back in the game.
Okay.
Bad news is Dalton Schultz was not practicing for much of the week, and Woody Marks is on the injury report.
He took a lot of contact last week. Dameon Pierce, are you fresh? I mean, like,
also, I have a working
like.
theory. I have a working theory here, Tim. You know, we have that Reed Shepherd working theory going.
Yeah.
Do you want my other working theory?
What's that?
Christian Kirk does not exist. He is a figment of our imagination.
I've seen Christian Kirk make a play on Red Zone.
Okay, well, he hasn't existed for the last 3 weeks. I don't know what's going on with him. You come out of the bye, and you're hurt. I don't know how that happens. And of course, he didn't play last week either. So he has now missed 4 games, and we've played 7.
Not a strong showing for the former Aggie. I just don't think we know how to use guys. That's what's frustrating. We don't put guys in their best situation a lot of times. I think Schultz just gets the shit kicked out of him. He doesn't know how to protect his body. I think the Njoku trade rumors have a lot more steam now. I don't know, Scott. I mean, do you know any tight ends? Like we have, that's a very thin room right now.
It is, and I think this Sunday's game is kind of the line of demarcation because, the trade deadline is Tuesday. So by the time we are on next week, we will know if we have any new Texans. So to me, I think a loss to Denver and you're selling. I think at the very least, Christian Harris probably needs to be traded regardless. And I don't know, do you know any teams that, might have like a couple of half-eaten boxes of vegetable fried rice if they can give up for Dameon Pierce?
I'm gonna need more than that.
You want a full box?
I definitely want a full box, and I'm thinking some Rangoons. I'm a sucker for those Rangoons.
Crab? What, you want some crab cakes?
I don't even need the crab in them. Just give me the plain cream cheese, because most of those Chinese restaurants do not use real crab, and I don't want fucking imitation crab in my cream cheese.
You want them to go to like maybe a high scale Chinese restaurant, and maybe that'll sweeten the deal for you.
Maybe. I mean, this is Dameon Pierce. Scott, this is the sledgehammer fucking Dameon Pierce we're talking about. The guy can return kicks. He's a short yardage specialist. He does it all, but he just doesn't need to right now. They don't need him yet. They're keeping the arm fresh. The Dodgers had Snell stashed away all year. You just keep him fresh, and then you bring him out for the playoff run.
Well, you know what you do? You do need him because he is half of that team that's holding Dare Ogunbowale on the sideline, keeping him from going in the game. So, he's serving an important role. Him and Christian Harris both.
Dude, the fact that you live in a world where you can't beat out Dare is fucking crazy to me. That guy, at least as a running back, right? Like Dare balls out on special teams. We've talked about that. But as a running back, you can't beat that man out for a spot on the fucking roster in a world where Joe Mixon is hurt. Nick Chubb can only have a fucking 5 carry limit, apparently. I don't know. And OG is getting touches in football games as an offensive player. And you can't do enough in practice to be like, coach should go, maybe I should give Danny a little run. Everybody's fucking hurt. No, he hasn't had a play in a year and a half. Those fucking legs should be fresh as shit right now.
He was on the roster this last week. He was there. He returned a kick. But
red zone.
He returned it for 20 yards. I mean, that's that's bottom of the league. But anyways. I think, it's going to be a close game. I think the line has the Texans by 1.5, which I'm struggling to understand. But, okay. And I agree with you. The offense doesn't need to come up with all 20 points. Maybe they can come up with 13, have the defense come up with another 7. I think that's the line of demarcation. If they get 20 points, they win. That's my prediction.
I'd like to see like a strong opening drive. I'd like to see them go right down the field, look crisp, look sharp, balls coming out of the hand quickly. Like if you wanna be the Patriots South, then just fucking be them. Use Noel like Wes Welker and get in his hands fucking right off the bat and take the pass rush completely out of their hands. If that's who you want to be, if you want to be Patriots South, fuck it, do it. But that means you gotta fucking throw the ball quick. Brady got the ball out in like a second and a half. They did not have to worry about him getting sacked because the ball was fucking coming out. We don't do that.
Well, at least we haven't done that consistently. They did that last week against the 49ers. They did that against Baltimore. They did that against Baltimore. They did that in the second half against the Titans. So, I mean, we've seen it. We just haven't seen it consistently.
Yeah, it's maddening. It's absolutely maddening. I mean, I can figure it out on the Xbox, Scott. I mean, I don't know what's going on. I'm just kidding.
You're doing a PS5. You're not upgrading to that.
I'm gonna have to do something. My Xbox won't turn on anymore. It happened the last couple of days. I'm heartbroken.
Last time I turned on the Wii, my TV caught on fire, so I can't really.
Ooh, maybe I can get my Wii back from my mom. I'm unfortunately past the age where Santa drops the new gaming system under the tree for you. I gotta buy it myself. And I don't know if you've like looked at the prices of new Xboxes because I did last night, and holy fucking shit!
I need to see if I can find my ColecoVision from when I was a kid.
Sawyer's got like the VR headset.
Yeah.
I might give that a try. Play a little VR golf at night.
Yeah. So you want to move on here?
Well, let's talk a little Rockets. Let's talk a little Rockets ball because I watched last night. You watched last night. I don't know if you saw who the point guard doing great work for the Raptors was.
I
But
did.
my fucking boy Jamal looks fantastic, doesn't he?
He does, and and now I think the Raptors are 1-4, I think, in the early going.
Yeah.
So are they going to start selling off some parts? Now the question is, if you're Toronto, do you want to sell Shed, or do you want to have Shed be a part of whatever future you're building there?
I think it depends on the price.
I mean, and so I don't know. I mean, to me, we joked about the fact that neither you or I have seen Reed Shepherd make a bucket live.
I saw a layup. I did not see a three.
But you're looking, at the box scores. I mean, he finished strong down the stretch against the Hawks, had 15 points and like 8 assists. I think if you're sticking with Reed Shepherd as a bench piece, okay. I mean, you could do a lot worse, I guess. The question is, so where do you see Finney Smith fitting in once he's back?
Just a 3-and-D player off the bench, 25, 30 minutes. He's coming in to, fill in at the 2 or 3 spot. First, he's probably one of the first ones off the bench coming in for Durant or Jabari first in.
So are you essentially describing Tari Eason?
So those two probably sub in together then.
Well,
and Adams comes out and we do less big man.
Or just you flip Tari Eason when Finney Smith comes back and you get your Shed.
You start Tari Eason and you what?
You flip Eason for Shed. I mean, if you're Toronto, do you make that trade?
Probably, but you have to sign Eason long term if you're going to do that.
I mean, the NBA, I think, still has that thing where they give the trading team like a 48 or 72-hour window, to work out, financials with a player. So maybe you go that route. I'd have to look at the salaries to see if they match at all. I mean, they're both on rookie deals, so I can't imagine that it would be that much. And I don't know if you saw this, but the Rockets are applying for a disabled player exception that would end up being half of Fred VanVleet's salary for the year. That's $12 or $13 million. That's some money to play. That's some money to play with. It could only be used for a player salary this year. So it would have to be a player on a 1-year deal or expiring contract.
Okay.
So, but to me, Shed looks, this team just, I think the first 4 games have shown they made that switch in the lineup. I don't know. What do you think of that new starting lineup they've been throwing out the last 2 nights?
I think the offense looks fantastic. I think the defense is pretty strong. I have no issue with it.
So, then the question is, if you brought in a Shed, how many minutes would you foresee him getting?
I'd like a guy like Shed for the last 7. Probably comes in at like the 6-minute mark in the first place. I don't know, 27, 28.
I think he could definitely pull that off. So you got to look at it as, where is this team realistically in the West? And would a Shed move the needle? If you took off the Cougar glasses for a moment, would a Shed move? Would the Shed make us that much more of a threat in the West?
You and I have both said last year we had no backup point guard. That was our biggest thing. When Fred went down, we had nothing. And when we lost basketball games because we didn't have a steady hand in those final minutes of crucial time to slow shit the fuck down and get guys good looks, whether it's for themselves or you're looking for somebody else. This year, we don't have a true point guard on the roster. You've got Aaron Holiday, who I don't know why he doesn't play. We fucking re-signed him. I don't know what the fucking plan there is. You've got Reed Shepherd, who's not really a true point guard. Like he really isn't. Doesn't make good decisions with the basketball. I don't mean to hate on him, and I'm not trying to be the hater because I wanted my guy instead. I'm just saying, you want to be a team that competes for a title and you're struggling to make inbound passes, or you're turning it over late trying to get it to Durant. Those are the things that cost you basketball games in 7-game series. So when I make a move for a guy like Shed, do I think we get better on a game-to-game basis? Yeah. But where I really think we get better is a guy who go to fucking war for 7 games. A guy who in that Golden State series would have been a fucking difference maker defensively, who's going to clamp somebody the fuck down. That's another thing. He's a wonderful defender. He is a lockdown defender. He can rebound. He boxes out. He is a team player who doesn't need the ball in his hands to make a difference. And that's what Ime thrives on. Obviously, I have no sway. It's not going to happen. I wish it would happen. It was a miss on draft night. He should have gone where Reed Shepherd went, and I said it when it was happening. But at the end of the day, if it's not him, that's fine. I think we need a better point guard. I think we need that.
I have no doubt they're going to get one. What I wonder is if they're going to target somebody with a little bit more experience who might be a little bit higher on the food chain. Because I could see them. I think Eason is going to be traded before the trade deadline. I think that's a given. The question is will they pair anybody else with him in order to make swing a bigger deal? Because if you could sit there, if you piece things together, if you get that exception from the league, which I think the rule is that the doctors independent doctors have to say there's a substantial chance that he will not be back by June 15th. And I have no idea what his recovery looks like. But you have that $12 million. You have Eason's salary. If you pair one more salary with it, you could get a pretty substantial starting level player. I just, who Shepard kind of reminds me of?
Who's that?
I don't know if you, he's a younger version. He's obviously inexperienced, but you remember Brent Barry?
Yeah.
Not a point guard. Never was a point guard. He was kind of like a combo guard, but he could shoot and he was surprisingly athletic. He won the dunk contest that one year.
Mm-hmm.
I could see Shepard developing into that sort of player. The problem is how long are you willing to wait for that?
I don't think we can afford to. You got Durant for this year and 2 more, if you keep him happy, right? Like theoretically.
Yeah.
Can you afford to let a rookie grow and take the bumps this year? What may be your best shot? Like Durant's not a spry chicken. He really isn't. So, if you got a team that you think can go to the fucking floor with anybody, which like we went to the mat with the defending champs on opening night, like we looked pretty good. We went shot for shot with them. It was a close game, triple overtime. Let's go. I feel like you need to make every move you can make to try and win a championship this season. And if that means you ship out Reed Shepard to get better, bye-bye. Like, and if he develops somewhere else, like, okay.
What I think was unfortunate is that I would have stashed him last year in the NBA DL. And
they did.
Well, but I'm talking about like the whole year. Just let him ball out, because really, he had that 1 year in Kentucky. The numbers at Kentucky were not off the charts. And so you were basically betting on spec, which, I have no problem with, in a, from a 64,000 feet view. But as you said, if this is your team this year, you don't have time. He didn't develop last year because he didn't play. So this is essentially his rookie year.
I mean, yes and no, because what's frustrating is you had a top 3 pick and you weren't a bottom 3 team, right? Like you had a chance to find a true difference maker and you didn't, not I'm going to say that you didn't deserve one, but like your team wasn't in a position by their record to get one. So like this was a really rare opportunity as a team that was looking for a difference maker. Like this team was a player away last year, right? And we're betting this year it's Durant. But last year, what if you got a fucking great player in that draft who does come in, who can make a difference? We're a different fucking team right now.
Yeah.
Then but you got a guy who literally was a top 3 fucking pick who was a net nothing.
Yeah,
for your team.
And I'm not even going to put it on Reed Shepard. I'm not. To me, he didn't get on.
I'm not putting it on Reed. I'm putting it on the GM who decided at the 3rd overall pick, I'm taking a project guard because I don't need him right now.
And I think he is in the Rafael Stone. I think looks at the draft, and I can't complain about him overall. Because you ended up getting Sengun as that kind of project kind of player, and that developed.
But we were in a different period at that
Exactly. My point is that, he looks at the draft the same way as I'm going to get a guy that might be something 3 or 4 years down the road. Well, your team, you got to win now. And last year you needed, like, if you imagine you got 2 or 3 more wins, you get 1 more win in a Western Conference, playoff series, you're going to the second round. I mean, it's that close.
I mean, imagine if we had a good backup point guard last year. You traded away your second round pick, was the pick before Jamal Shed. If you don't take a guard in the first pick, let's say you draft a wing player, someone who could give you something off the bench offensively because Tari was down for a lot of the year, and then you don't trade your second round pick and you pick up Jamal Said, that's a different basketball team, right? Yes, he's had some wins in the draft, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Jalen Green was not a great pick. Jabari's been good, but he's a project. Like he was a guy who played the 4 in college, but you're asking him to play the 3 in the NBA. The Rockets have done this before with Marcus Morris, and you try and stretch guys out. Like they're doing things that are chess when everyone else is trying to play checkers, right? But if everyone else is playing checkers, chess rules don't always matter.
Yeah, and I think when you look at all their picks, I mean, I think it's the same thing with every one of their picks is that, Jalen Green he's not going to be good at first, but maybe he can develop into something. Well, I mean, he got better, but not quite good enough. Sengun wasn't great when he came here as a rookie because, he's not going to be. He's great now. And then you drafted guys like Eason, not great to begin with. You drafted guys, and then you have your Shepherds. Now, you have Jabari Smith. All these guys as rookies were not impact players. They were betting on the future. Now, I'm going to push back. I would not have taken Shed number 3 overall because, I mean, that's awfully early, in comparison. But I'd have to look at who else was available in that draft who got picked around the top 10.
It was a weak draft. Go look at that draft again now, and I guarantee you Shed's a top 10 pick just based on NBA performance, right? Like, I just think it was a weak draft. And I get it. I'm a Cougar. I'm a homer. But I watched that guy play for 4 years, and I've watched him just as a guy grow, and I knew his character and tenacity. And when the coach says, this is my favorite guy I've ever coached, and the coach is Kelvin fucking Sampson, who's coached a lot of guys, a lot of
college wins, yeah,
and has close ties to the Rockets, right? Like Kelvin only is the UH coach because he was the Rockets coach. Like it just worked out that way. So I really thought the ties were there, and that would have been where they went.
I would have definitely picked him in the second round. I don't know why they didn't.
Because they took Reed in the first.
Well, it just didn't, but it doesn't matter. And I've made this point before where, like in the NFL draft, or NFL free agency, I would pick up 3 or 4 street free agent running backs every year. See if you hit, and I think the same thing in the draft. If point guard is your issue, double up on that shit because, the chances that one of them will pan out has got to be pretty good. If you roll your dice on one guy, maybe it works.
I mean, as much as everybody laughed at Shanahan when they drafted Kirk Cousins in the 4th and Robert Griffin in the 1st round, like, hey, they both ended up playing. They both were needed at different points in their career, and they both made a lot of money as starting quarterbacks.
And Cousins more than Robert Griffin III.
Yeah, I mean, Cousins making a lot of money right now to hold the fucking clipboard.
That's right. All right.
I would do it for half. I'm just saying.
All right.
You want to give some awards out, Scott?
Yeah, I guess we should.
All right, my friend. It is time for our POW. Right in the Kisser Award. Who do you have for us this week?
I'm going to have to. I've been watching the World Series on and off. And I don't know if you saw the strike them out, throw them out, double play against the Blue Jays. Did you see that play?
I haven't watched the pitch.
Okay.
I haven't watched the pitch.
Okay, so Bo Bichette's at the plate. Well, Bo Bichette's a free swinger. So, and Springer, I think, is on first. So when Bo Bichette doesn't swing at a pitch, that should probably tell you something. He's got a 3-ball count, and the pitch is, I can't even, this far above the zone, about maybe 4 or 5, almost 6 inches above the zone. So Bo Bichette starts walking to first base. George Springer starts walking to second base.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing? What that's just and I think, it was basically shown on social media as they're in the bag for the Dodgers because it was right when the Dodgers were, winning that 18 inning game. And you're sitting there looking at this like, okay, this is bullshit. They were Dodgers going to go up 2-1. So everybody thinking, okay, the Dodgers are just going to bum rush them, not knowing that the Blue Jays came back strong and won 2 in a row in LA. Tiny little violin for you Dodgers fans, but I'm just so bad. I'm tired of bad umpiring, Tim. It's killing me here.
It really is. And I've been calling for robo-umps for a long time because I'm so over this is this guy, this is his strike zone. I'm so over, he's Greg Maddux, he gets that call. You're not. So the zone is the zone is the zone. It's the length of the plate, from knees to fucking chest. Like, that's the zone. It shouldn't matter who's behind the plate. You should go up there looking for consistency because the zone is the motherfucking zone. It shouldn't matter if it's Laz Diaz that night. It shouldn't matter if it's fucking Angel Hernandez that night. It shouldn't matter who it is. Do you remember when you were kids? I don't know if you played like wiffle ball, but that was big for us. We had a thing where we'd set up our recycling bin behind whoever was hitting, and if it hit the fucking bin, that was a strike. The zone was the zone. You also was there to make sure the ball didn't keep getting away too. But like, if you hit the bin, it was automatic. You were done batting. It's a strikeout because we were very competitive. You got to put the ball in play. But either way, the zone is the zone is the zone. So I'm with you, my man. And I want to, and since I'm just going to hop on the train with you, because I will say, like, I haven't watched it live. I'll preface that. I've watched clips. I've seen that stuff. And one of the things I've experienced that I really want to punch Major League Baseball in the face for is who the fuck okayed the idea for a little Jonas Brothers performance in the middle of a baseball game. Have you seen the clips of this, Scott?
I have not, but was Mickey there?
I don't. So we do the stand up to cancer moment, right? Everybody, they do the lights go down, go around the fucking stadium. Everybody does their thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
From that, we go straight to like a fucking Jonas Brothers performance mid-game. Mid-fucking game. A Jonas Brothers, hey-ah, and then back to you, Ken, down at the field. I don't know about you, Scott. I am a legitimate baseball fan. And do you know what I've never felt the need for? Is a goddamn fucking halftime show. I don't need a little. If you want to bring somebody out for a little rendition of America the Beautiful, like, okay, that's fine. You know what I don't need is to hear fucking Bop or whatever the version of that the Jonas Brothers are famous for. Because I don't know a Jonas Brothers song off the top of my head. But like, what are we doing? What the fuck? What the fuck are we doing? You're a starting pitcher sitting on the bench waiting to get the fuck back out there, and Nicky fucking Jonas is tap dancing his way above you on the dugout. Like, come on.
All right. Is that your pal, or are you going?
I'm punching whoever okayed that idea.
All right. So the next one,
horse's ass.
Horse's ass, and I am doing this in honor of the spirit of the word, Tim. And my horse's ass is Margaritaville. So, would you like to guess how much it cost a night for 2 people to stay at Margaritaville?
Are you talking about per person or total for the room?
So, well, it's going to end up being how much was the room cost? I'll just say that.
$450.
Well, you're a little high, but it's $350. $350.
Okay.
But then, I haven't seen this many fees since I was on a damn cruise. You get your resort fee, We're not doing any resort shit. We get there on Friday night, Tim, or actually Friday afternoon, and we see a advertisement for a comedy show. Hey, this looks interesting. Well, no, that's going to be an extra $20. Well, wait a minute. I paid a fucking resort fee. What is, and then, so, my dad is now 82 years old. He's had multiple heart procedures, had another one in September. So he really is incapable of playing like 18 consecutive holes of golf at this point. Most rounds of golf, like he'll take off about 3 or 4 holes strategically, and we'll just write in a score for him. It's like, okay, this is kind of the cost of doing things, right? So he volunteered. He says, I'm not going to play on Friday because everybody's playing their own ball Friday. I won $20, by the way, on Friday. That was, another good, a good result. And so he's going to rent a cart. Now, I'm going to go to your club, Tim. How much does it cost to rent a cart?
I think it's 20, but I mean, maybe 25.
Okay. So they're like, you want to rent a cart? That'll be $45.
Oh my God.
And so he was like, I'm not playing. I'm like the coach driving around. I'm the tournament director, he said. They finally let him have a cart without charging him, but that was going to be $45, which is more than half the price of playing around a golf out at Margaritaville. And so I'm saying goodbye to Margaritaville. I'm hoping we are just absolutely going after my uncle, who's the actual tournament director, to say, let's go Airbnb next time, choose another golf course, because, Walden's right next door, and they will put us up in an Airbnb and charge us, I think they said $80 a round. I don't know. You've never played Walden?
Oh, I've played Walden.
You played Walden on Lake Conroe or Lake Houston?
Lake Houston.
Now, Lake Conroe is harder than Lake Houston.
Well, I blew the fuck up on Lake Houston. I was in high school. Different golfer then.
Well, when I was playing a junior tournament out there way back I had Wooden Woods, Tim. This is how far back I go. I go out there, and you start off with 2 par 5s. And so I birdied the first hole, and I'm like, man, I'm going here. Then we get an hour and a half rain delay. And then I go out to the second hole. I had to play the other 17 holes, Tim. I did not break 100 that day with a birdie on the first hole. That was rough. The second hole is a double dogleg par 5 with the last 150 yards of it water.
How far?
So
How far?
The last 150 yards of its water. Like, if you want to hit that thing in 2, you're going to have to thread the needle and bend that son of a bitch and hit it like 330.
Yeah, so we're laying up.
I know you got 330 in your bag.
Off the tee.
Off the tee. I don't know that you got 330 and bending it into like a 5-yard window.
Not necessarily. I'm fine playing smart golf every now and then. Scrambles.
Yeah.
So we played a scramble this weekend just for fun. And I mean, I hit some fucking monster shots, but I mean, I don't know. I don't have 330 with like tight draw.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, and Margaritaville's not a bad course. It's a fairly nice course, but it's just not worth the money. And the whole nickel and diming, we were joking when we got the fire alarm last year that they were going to charge us a fire fee. They were nice. They put us on the first floor because my dad basically said, "Hey, I almost died when y'all had me go down like 20 flights of stairs." So they were nice there, but it's a pain in the ass every year.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's plenty of, you can just pick a fun city and just like stay at a fucking Hampton Inn and go to San Antonio, go to Austin, go to New Braunfels and like play the Bandit or something like that, right? Like y'all should look up the Bandit in New Braunfels.
we've tried to get my uncle to get on that train, and it's just hard.
I would really recommend the play. The problem is I'm in Dallas and in Houston, but like that place I took Haley to an hour from me. I can't recommend enough to on Lake Texoma, Tanglewood, man. It was a blast for the past. The pool, everything. There's a resort fee. I will tell you, there is a resort fee, Scott. But the pool was heated. It's included. That's about it. But the pool and water slide was included.
All right, who you got, Tim?
This is an interesting one, Scott, because it's a weird situation. Because I agree that these buyouts are fucking crazy, right? I completely agree that they've gotten out of hand. But what I don't want, I don't think the fucking state governor of Louisiana should be standing up and bitching about a fucking athletic director and saying that, publicly he won't be the one doing the coaching search because he's handing out these fucking ludicrous contracts. Look what he did to A&M. And then you actually look at, like, he signed the first one with A&M with Fisher, but the next guy who came in actually signed Fisher to the extension that made the buyout worse. And again, like, I don't think buyouts are right, but if that's the name of the game and that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. I just don't. I don't think the fucking state governor, because there's no president of the board of regents for LSU, should be stepping in and like publicly shaming an AD to the point where, like, he's then fired because he's the one who hired Brian Kelly. Like, Brian Kelly wasn't perfect. He is an asshole, always has been an asshole. And he did his thing at LSU, and LSU did exactly what Notre Dame did. They were good, not great. They never won the big game. Anytime they got ranked highly, they fucking choked it away. They looked good offensively at times, but they were never a real contender. That's the Brian Kelly experience. I could have told you that before you fucking hired him. But I just don't think the fucking state – could you imagine if Greg Abbott got up there? It was like, Sarkisian's got to go, man. The way he's wasting this Manning guy's talent is ridiculous. I feel like the state should riot at that point. Be like, yo, bro, you got way fucking bigger things to deal with than the football coach of your state's university. Like, what are we doing, man? And I know your daughter goes there. She's in the band. She's at all these games. I think it's insane that it's a governor, man.
Well, I could definitely see Greg Abbott doing that. That's the sad thing. But
yeah, the way they're using this Manning guy is terrible. He should be fired.
So a couple of things on that. Number one, I am fully expecting the cost to go from the low 40s to $50,000 to send my daughter to school there next year in order to pay
Brian Kelly for that.
Well,
Here's they got a donor to cover it.
Now, I will say she got some teenage angst out because she was in the student section and they were chanting "Fire Kelly." So, that she got some enjoyment out of that. She said she was absolutely participating in that chant. So, hey, college experience, I guess. Here's my thing, right? So he's 34-14 as LSU's coach. Now, last time I checked, that's about a 70% winning percentage.
I think it was like 71, but yeah.
So I'm just ballparking the math there, right?
It's not bad.
So that's what, 7-8 wins a year? And a 12-game schedule, that's actually more. That's a little bit more than 8 wins a year. I think the idea of giving him a 10-year contract was absolutely insane. But it's kind of the cost of doing business. And this is my biggest pet peeve with fans and media alike is this is the difference between what I call first guessing and second guessing. Now, first guessing is like when the Texans hired David Culley and, everybody's going, who the fuck is this guy? What the fuck are they doing? That's first guessing. Second guessing is, Brian Kelly, he does pretty good at Notre Dame. This could work. And then it doesn't work. And we knew it wasn't going to, no. I mean, we were second guessing Jose Abreu because at the time we were like, yeah, okay. I could see this working for a couple of years. So where do you go from here? Do you go Lane Kiffin? Do you go the guy from Indiana? I mean, and that you got to bring up the Brinks truck for either of those two guys. So, you're probably talking dropping $100 million between the two. I mean, that's just outrageous.
No, yeah, it's going to be a pricey endeavor. And it's just so quick. I don't think Brian Kelly deserves to be fired. Like, I think this is a bad year. I definitely think this is a bad year for him. But his thing has always been he doesn't win the big games. And I don't know what he could have told you in that interview process that made you feel like that was on everybody else, right? But he got Cincinnati into like the chance to play for a BCS game, and then they shit the fucking bed. He bolts to Notre Dame. He got Notre Dame into the BCS championship against Alabama. Then the whole fucking like Manti Te'o shit comes out and all that stuff happens. And then, every time Notre Dame got close, they'd lose a game to USC or whatever. They just never could pull off the big game. The longest winning streak of, we lost to Navy with fucking Brian Kelly at the helm. I say we. I was a giant Notre Dame fan. I was an Irish Catholic. I'm allowed to say we. But yeah, like honestly, man, Brian Kelly is the reason I stopped watching Notre Dame football. Like I went to UH. Brian Kelly was just not fun to watch anymore. I was like, well, I got a school I can root for now because St. Mary's didn't have a team. But Brian Kelly fucking sucks. Like I don't like Brian Kelly. He is pretty awful.
It's not a horribly entertaining brand of football, particularly when you can't run the ball. But he lost the 3 top 10 teams. The SEC is a hard conference.
The problem is LSU thinks that they should be a top 10 team. They truly do you think year in, year out, LSU should be a top 10 team? That's the real question. If you think that you have the facilities and the budget to go spend in recruiting on NIL and transfers and whatnot and all that other stuff, and you're saying we're spending this much money, we're not a top 10 team, that's the moniker, right? Top 25 is not good enough. We need to be top 10.
I mean, and my question is, in the current college football landscape, is anybody going to be top 10 every year?
I mean, Bama was.
Well, Bama was, but in the current landscape with NIL, I mean, maybe Ohio State is, but Ohio State is spending like $40 million on their players. They're outspending everybody. I mean, if you give a team a budget of $20 million, yeah, but Oregon's not even top 10. So
they were until they're top 10. They're 6.
But I mean, I don't know that they're top 10 every year. I guess maybe they are, but
yeah.
But you get teams, but every other team that is a quote unquote blue blood, like say Michigan. Is Michigan good every year?
No, they have off years.
And then you look at, Alabama is currently kind of, they're better this year, but they were off last year. It was a rough year for them. Florida hasn't been good in years. They just fired their coach too. So, I mean, I don't know. USC hasn't been good in quite some time. They used to be a blue blood. I just don't think the number of teams out there that are going to be quote unquote top 5, top 10 programs every single year is as many as people think it is.
No, I agree with you on that. Like, I think the days of the old SEC are over. This isn't mid 2000s where, LSU and Alabama were going to be there every year. They won the recruiting battles. You had great facilities. Those things just don't matter anymore, right? Like you can get to the NFL a litany of ways now. A lot more games are televised. You just don't have the same recruiting edge that you used to. You need a personable guy. And Brian Kelly is not that guy. I can't imagine him like sitting in my child's living room trying to convince me to like let him go play for him. Like I wish we could get like Travis Kelce or Jason Kelce on the pod to talk about being recruited by Brian Kelly, because they both played for him at Cincinnati. And I would love to know like what that process was like of like being recruited, because Kelsey was recruited as a quarterback and then like switched to tight end when he was in college.
Yeah. All right, Tim.
Tipping a
tipping a
cap. We are
So-
tipping a cap.
I am tipping a cap this week to my partner in both the Ramble and the Scramble, Larry Boccia. He is playing to about a 6, and he bailed our ass out, Tim, because he could hit the ball 250 easy, consistent. I mean, there were times where me and the other guy, skull shanked it, and you have this open green. You're like, oh shit, hit it somewhere close, and he'd stick it up there, and we won. We won the scramble, and we came in a scorecard playoff tie. Ended up being second in the in the Ramble, and we got off to a start. Now the Ramble, I don't know if you ever played one of those.
Is that similar to like everybody drives, you take the best drive,
Right.
and then you play your own ball in?
Right, but we end up taking the best handicapped score. So the net. So after the 6th hole, we were 12 under.
Okay, looking
Now-
good.
Now the rest of the way, we ended up being about 13 or 14 under for the rest of the 12 holes. So we kind of slowed down a bit. But I mean, it was just absolutely, and it was probably my best putting weekend I've ever had. I mean, I was making about 3 or 4 putts around. I was lag putting great when we needed lag putting. So, and consistently, probably my looks were the best looks, even when we weren't making the putt. Like I would lip out 2 or 3 times, but I can't hit the ball. I need to get that Haley, that Osment, rib surgery, from Billy, the second Happy Gilmore, because I just can't hit the ball very far. And after the rain on Saturday and Sunday, I'm not getting any roll. So, I mean, there were several times where I felt like I cold cocked the ball and it didn't even get to the fairway. I mean, it's just rough.
Yeah, that is rough. We also scrambled on Sunday because of the rain. We were just like, let's just go out and have some fun and play a scramble on par 70. Our course is not a easy course to score on. I did almost have a hole in one. I hit the flag itself. It got tangled up in the flag, and then like I literally landed this far, like from the hole, and then it zipped back 20 feet. Like I damn near fucking jarred that motherfucker. Still waiting on that. But yeah, scrambling, a good scramble is a fun time. I'm glad you're playing some fun, good golf, Scott. It's good to see you get out there and be able to enjoy the game a little bit more now that you're kind of playing just, the clubs that are more fitted for the style of golfer you are now.
I was up a total of 110 over the weekend, and that's pretty salty.
And it's after you paid for all your room and everything?
No. Of course not. I'm that's sunken cost. I'm talking about
Okay.
the gambling winnings was $110.
And golf winnings included in that?
Yeah, I didn't play any poker. Sometimes I do, but it's it gets kind of rough. We end up playing like 3-card gut, and I don't know if you've ever played that game. That game will fuck you.
I'm not a big poker player. We played some Texas Hold'em because that's what ESPN used to have when I was in high school. So like we all thought Texas Hold'em was the shit.
We play a version of it called Omaha. I don't know if you've ever played that.
Omaha High Low.
Yeah, Omaha High
Yeah.
Low.
That was on ESPN too.
Play 2 cards and only 2 cards out of your 4. And I can tell you that the biggest arguments is over whether or not ace 2, 3, 4, 5 can be a low hand. Some people say it can. Some people say it's a straight. It can't be a low hand.
Yeah, that's.
But anyway, a hat tip to the A golfer in our group because he played like an A golfer. And that's what we needed.
Hey, it's nice when the pros show up. Did you see the story on the internet's going around about a guy named Luke Kwan, who's like one of those YouTube golfers?
Yeah, I think I did see that story.
Where like he shows up late to a tee time where like they're playing for $1.7 million, and then was a fucking absolute dick the whole time. Like you could have had that experience. Luckily, you had a guy who showed up and played well. All right, Scott. I'm gonna tip my cap to the kiddo this week, to Sawyer. She started basketball, and just really proud of how willing she is to try new sports and to get out there this year has been just a new experience for her. She played her first full fall season of softball, and then now is playing basketball. So just really cool to see her making new friends, thriving in new areas, willing to try new things, and just getting out there and playing. I got a chance to coach practice today because the main coach was out of town. Introduced him to the 3-man weave. I looked up midway through. There's like 8 people in the middle line, one person on one side, and the other wing is like completely empty. I'm like, what the fuck happened to my lines here? You got to fucking follow the ball. But yeah, it was a good time. It was fun. It's great to get out there and coach and just see her just grow as an athlete, and find her niche. We tried soccer here, and she didn't really like that years ago, and it's good to see her trying some different things. And she does choir, she does this, she does theater. Really nice to see her just blossoming as a person.
Sounds good, Tim. Doing it right.
She certainly is. Let's do the big one, Scott. Scumbag of the week. Who do you have for us this week?
All right. So at the golfathon, another thing happened. I think I mentioned this to you in text, but as I mentioned, my dad's 82 years old, and I don't know how old your parents are, but one thing I've noticed about people when they get older is their filter starts to go. And so my dad goes from 0 to 60 in lickety split. And when there's a trumper, it just blows his gasket. He couldn't, I mean, and so we were talking with a trumper on the trip, and I'm not going to call out his name because, that's not cool. But we ended up talking about immigration, Tim. And what I'll say to this is that I guess talking with Trumpers is enlightening on a certain level, that it's very easy to win an argument in their mind when you get to make up your own facts. It's easy. I mean, I could,
fucking undefeated shooter.
I could do it, because my favorite was when he sat there and said, and we're paying for these undocumented immigrants and they don't pay anything to the system. And I said, no, they pay taxes. How much? $100 billion a year. And then he's like, what's your source? The CBO. He's like, oh, okay. And then, he's starting to talk about how the Democrats want to, pay for the immigrant health care. And it's like, no, they just want the Affordable Care Act subsidies extended. That's it. Bullshit. It's like, so basically his argument came down to, it's a question of economics versus humanitarian. And we want to try to, we want to take care of people, but it's just not good economics. And so my question is, why not? Why not? And so to me, if you're going to sit there and you're going to say that I'm a capitalist, I'm talking as him now, I'm a capitalist, and as a capitalist, we can't do humanitarian, then I'm going to tell you that capitalism is immoral. And it absolutely is. And he was talking to me as if I was going to accept, like, oh yeah, you're right. No, I'm not a capitalist. No, not by any stretch of the imagination. And to me, when you look at it and you're going to sit there and say, well, we got to let these guys bleed out on the emergency room floor. That's the capitalist way to do it. Well, then I say, fuck your capitalism. It's time for a new way. All these other countries have been able to, particularly in Western Europe, have been able to figure this out. There are 33 industrialized nations in the world. 32 of them have universal health care, have national health care systems where you could walk into an emergency room, you could walk into a doctor's office, and it's virtually free to you. I mean, very little out of pocket. So explain to me, like I'm a 5-year-old, why we can't do that here. And if your answer is capitalism, then, and we listen to our, holy Mike Johnson, or Moses Mike Johnson, as some people have started calling him, sitting there talking about how, well, we need free market approaches, we need deregulation. Oh, so you want to give corporations more power and authority. Got it. And that's going to drive down our cost. How exactly? All I know is that my insulin cost more than it used to under Joe Biden. All I know is that, all my other drugs cost more. All I know is that, we have corporate health care, and I'm still maxing it out, our expenditures every single year. I'm getting free meds now, Tim, until the end of December because we've maxed out, our out of pocket. Well, that's nice, except for the fact that how much does it take to max out? And so it's just, to me, talking with people like that, it's like there's no facts getting in. I'm allowed to make up shit. And all we get told is, well, y'all need to sit down and negotiate. I'm not negotiating with that shit. I'm not negotiating with somebody who just makes shit up and calls that reality. It's bullshit.
Yeah, it's a lose-lose. Like, those people everything's a straw man argument. Everyone's but it's what they've been inundated with, right? The party is keeping people in a constant state of fear, right? We can't have an actual conversation over why they don't want to vote for it because no one would ever agree with them. So what they have to do is create a straw man, create a big boogeyman who's coming to take your SNAP benefits away so we can go to illegal immigrants. We have to do that, right? And we'll frame it that way because God forbid we actually tell the truth about what we're doing, which is just another transfer of corporate wealth. America wants everyone here to be on a subscription-based lifestyle. They want you constantly paying for stuff. That's why cars cost so much. That's why houses cost so much, because they don't want you to have financial freedom, because that means you can tell your fucking corporate overlords to kiss your ass because you're done, because you own your house, you own your car, you can take care of your car, right? Like, if you look at today's vehicles, good luck trying to take care of that thing yourself. You got a 1985 Jeep, you can keep it running forever. You got a 2025 Chevy, whatever. That thing's got microchips out the ass. A brand new mirror costs $1,500 for a new Silverado alone, the mirror, because there's so much technology in it. You ain't taking care of that yourself. You're just going to pay $75,000, pay it over a monthly, whatever, and you're just going to be in debt for the rest of your life. And that's what they want from us. Our health insurance comes from our jobs. They want us employed. They don't want us to be able to say, go fuck yourself, I'll start my own business, because they want to own every aspect of our lives. But yeah, the people like that have no idea what the actual truth is and live in their own reality, and it's impossible to deal with.
Well, and what killed me is that, he is basically a pretty wealthy individual, because he talked about the fact that he owns like 300 acres of farmland and is like, has rental properties and all this, that, and the other. So sitting here talking about the fact, I love the stock market. Did you know the stock market is doing better now than it ever has?
Stock market doesn't matter to me because I don't own any fucking stock, dipshit.
Well, but he said, like, everybody's got a 401k, and it's like, no, most people don't have 401ks.
I just started mine. I just started at 35.
And that's and what kills me is that, yeah, I have an IRA because I funded it. My employer didn't fund it. I have it. I funded it. But see, if you're working a $10, $15 an hour job, which is still more than minimum wage, are you funding a 401k
No.
off of $15 an hour? No. And he didn't and that just flew over their head. So a lot of these rich people have no idea what normal people live like.
Never have.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna talk about the same selection of society, but for a different reason. There's a pretty significant golf influencer who passed away on Monday. I'm not a big Barstool guy, but I do at least pay attention to the golf stuff that they do. And a guy who went by the name Beef passed away, and he was a bigger guy, a pretty big guy, but you know the comment section of any one of the announcements anywhere was disgusting, right? And this is coming from the same group of people that, like, if you said anything negative about Charlie Kirk after he died, you're a piece of shit, right? But you could sit there and be like, well, I wonder what he died from, huh? and that's totally okay, right? Like, you're gonna like fat shame someone post death. Like, it's frustrating. It's disgusting. Like, people like saying, well, maybe people will take this as a lesson that being this big isn't a healthy lifestyle. Like, how about we look at the fact that this guy did camps for kids, was great with his fans, did a lot to help try and grow the game. Nah, we're gonna talk about that. Like, he was too fat and he probably died from that. Like, it's fucking ridiculous, man. And it's just a group of people that love to like play victim, but then go on the attack when it's in there. It's so goddamn frustrating, right? Like, it's so fucking frustrating that these same people demanded everybody in the country fucking bend a knee for a podcaster, but another influencer passes away from a medical issue. So he's 31 years old, and we're just gonna fat shame him for it. It's fucking awful.
Well, and you got to start looking. I remember there was a line from The West Wing, and I know you watched that show some, where they
grew about 6 times.
They made that back deal, underwater, deal for under the table deal for Social Security, where Toby Ziegler went behind, and got this Democrat and this Republican, and they could only make it if the White House didn't take credit for it.
Yeah.
And I remember Bartlett made the line that says, we need to start looking at what's rendered, and not at who's going to take credit for it. And to me, did he leave the world a better place? Then, yeah. I mean, and to me, that's the bar. And to me, if you want to talk about, a podcaster like Charlie Kirk, did Charlie Kirk leave the world a better place?
We have opinions that differ from a lot of the mainstream Americans, and we'll just leave it at that.
Exactly. But, this guy, by all accounts, made the world a better place. He made golf more accessible for people. And to me, if that's the best thing, you like with programs like First Tee and things like that, if you can make the game of golf accessible to kids, sure, most of them probably won't continue to play golf, but you never know where the next Tiger Woods or Michelle Yao or any of those are, going to come from. You never know.
And not only that, Scott, like, it's not just the next Tiger Woods, whatever. It's how many kids start at the First Tee or take a lesson and now play golf with their dad, and years go by, and look at you, your dad still goes on an annual golf trip with you. You guys still make memories surrounding the game of golf. You've been playing together for what we'll call it 50 years now, that the two of you have been playing golf together?
Near it, because I started playing when I was like 6 or 7 years old.
So, I mean, it's not just the who goes pro. It's getting kids an opportunity to make memories with their parents. Like I can't wait for Sky to get out there with me and learn the game. I enjoy coaching Sawyer in her different sports. Like people like that who are out there simply because they love the sport and they want kids to love it too. And them going pro isn't the final goal, right? It's go make some memories, have some fun, and fall in love with something you'll do for the rest of your life. And having volunteered at the first team myself, there's quite a few people. I don't know what it is about golf, man, but it's a great community of people that want kids to play the game and fall in love early because it's addicting. I know you probably saw a point in your life, right, where all your friends who didn't play golf all of a sudden started playing golf. Maybe it's a little different now because it's so accessible, but it's just so great to be so much better than them at it because I've been doing it for so much longer.
Well, and what I'll say is, and it sounds like Sawyer's going down this path, and I think the proudest that we are as parents is that we always encouraged Anne to try new things. She never tried golf, but she tried, she played volleyball. She tried playing softball, but that didn't take. She tried playing basketball, that didn't take. She tried cheerleading, that didn't take. She was in band for a year, that didn't take either. Obviously she's made a future for herself in choir. But the whole point is that all the different things that Sawyer is doing, will she love all of them? Maybe, maybe not. Will she find one thing she loves doing? The odds are better the more things she tries. And that's really the key.
And those volunteers that are out there making it possible, are the ones that you're appreciative of. But yeah, I just was disappointed. I don't know why, but social media does what it does.
Absolutely.
All right, Scott, that's about all we've got for everybody this week. We appreciate all of our listeners as always. It's so glad to welcome you into our homes and into your hearts, realistically, these fine moments every week. But we will see everybody here. Hopefully another Texans win. Hopefully the Rockets keep rolling. And we'll be here next week. We don't know what day, we don't know what time. We'll figure it out, but we'll be here on Born on the Bayou Sports.